Are you postpartum and struggling to exercise? All right, today is part 3 of my gentle postpartum ab workout. I will link parts 1 and 2 below. We are going to go ahead and get started with laying down. And this first move is going to be called a reciprocal inhibition, and I'll walk through what that means. Today's video at the end is going to be a more challenging move that I would love for you to try with me. It's one that I have been afraid of for a long time, and I started working on it. It's going well, and the idea is I want you to be encouraged that you can try new things that maybe feel scary and build your strength. So for this first move, we're gonna get our left leg is up in a 90-90 position. My right leg is down. And you're going to take that big deep breath in, expand your ribs in all directions, and then pelvic floor is relaxed. And then on the exhale, you're going to exhale audibly. You're going to press your quad into your palm and your palm into your quad. Think about exhaling all your breath audibly. Pelvic floor is up and in. I know I'm giving you a lot of instructions. We're going to go over it all again. And this is one that keep exhaling, exhaling, exhaling. Awesome. Inhale. Take a break, and then we're going to do the other side. This is one that it doesn't look like much, but if you do it and do everything I'm saying, you will absolutely feel your core engaging. So we're going to get the right knee into position. So it's that big inhale in. I will link my 360 breathing videos below. If you haven't watched part 1 or 2, and you have no idea what I'm talking about, I will link those as well as the 360 breathing so you can catch up with those. Okay, so big inhale in. You're expanding your ribs in all directions. Your pelvic floor relaxes down. And on the exhale, you press your quad muscle into your palms into your quad. You should feel like your hips are magnetizing together. It's like your abs are being wrapped in mummy tape or a corset. And you're really thinking about exhaling all that air while your pelvic floor is up and in. You got this. Keep going, keep going, keep going. And rest. Okay, we're going to do that one more time on each side just to keep practicing. And this is a great move to do to really turn your abs on to get things kind of warmed and ready to go. So get your leg up in position. So big inhale in. Expand ribs, pelvic floor relaxes, and then exhale. Press palm into quad, quad into palm, push, push, push. Turn those abs on. Should feel like a corset muscle tightening around you. And you can do another breath in if you need to, and exhale. Just hold that pressure, pressing. And make sure you're also thinking about your low back should be sort of pressed into the mat, not arching up. Amazing. And then switch sides. We're going to do this one again. Inhale and exhale. Awesome. And you can also always start warming up with 360 breathing. If this feels like it's too much for you, you can always go back to doing 360 breathing. That is the foundational movement, like I've talked about before. And you should definitely subscribe so you never miss these videos. If you want to be here and learn all the different things that I do for workouts. Okay, next is going to be knee folds. So this one, since this is part 3, I'm going to do a more challenging version, but I will also show the modifications when once I show this. So you're going to do an inhale in, and you're going to lower both legs down with the exhale. Sorry, inhale, and then exhale back up. So it's inhale down, exhale up. And this is very challenging. You want to think about your low back is pressed into the mat. Your abs are tightening like a corset. You never want to see coning or bulging or anything like that. Your stomach area should be staying relatively flat, not in a funny shape. Now, if this is too much for you, you can also do one at a time. And the movement doesn't have to be like you're going to the floor. If you can do an inch or two and go back up, that's amazing. You do that today, it all counts. And the idea is you want to hold the integrity of the movement. So you want to keep going with combining it with the breathing. So it's inhale on the down, exhale on the up. With the inhale, your pelvic floor relaxes. With the exhale, your pelvic floor is up and in, contracting. And you also want to maintain that low back being pressed into the mat and feel like your hips are still and stable. So if you're doing what I'm doing and it doesn't feel like that's the case, then you can go to this version where you have your feet planted on the floor and you inhale down, exhale up. And again, you're doing one leg at a time. But this is sort of the most gentle version. And then, like I said, you can have both legs in tabletop and you're doing one leg at a time here. And then you can also do both legs. And I don't want you to feel like because you're doing one or the other that it doesn't matter. Wherever you are today is where you are today, and that's amazing. You're showing up, you're doing it, you're working on your deep core, you're healing yourself from the inside out, which is how you can get back to other forms of exercise. It's how you can intensify your exercise, because you have to heal your abs and your pelvic floor before you can do some of those other things in a safe way. And of course, you always want to talk with your medical team about your specific situation, when you should be getting back to things and how to get back to them. This is all for education purposes. Okay, now we are going to get into our bird dog. So we're gonna roll onto our side and press up. So if you are postpartum, definitely if you have abdominal separation or a diastasis, but really anyone postpartum that's healing, getting up that way is the ideal way, because when you crunch up, you're putting more pressure in the inside of your belly, which can potentially worsen an abdominal separation or take it longer to heal. Okay, now we're gonna get into our bird dog. So I am in a quadruped position. So I have my wrists, elbows, and shoulders are stacked. My knees and hips are stacked. My knees and my hips are at 90 degrees. My back is neutral, which means that it's not arched and it's not it's not arched this way and it's not flexed. You're just kind of neutral. And so we're gonna do that nice big 360 inhale. Ribs expand in all directions, pelvic floor relaxes, and on the exhale, it's audible, and we're gonna extend right arm and right leg. If this is new for you, again, you can go back to, I think I did bird dog in part 2, where I showed some modifications you can start with. I'm gonna actually add some things to challenge you here. So on the inhale, you can do knee to palm, and then on the exhale, it's back out. Inhale, knee to palm. Exhale, back out, pelvic floor is up and in. And you always want to think about the ribs and what your pelvic floor is doing, because pairing the breathing with this movement is how you reconnect everything inside your body, your abs, your pelvic floor. That's how you rebuild that foundation. We're gonna do one more on this side. And if the knee to palm is too much for you, that's okay, skip it. If the full extension is too much for you, go back to the hover that I did in part 2. Okay, big deep breath in. Now I'm doing exhale, left arm out, right leg out. Inhale, knee to palm. Exhale, back out. And you can go at your own pace for this. Just do it with the breathing. It's very slow and very controlled. Again, that's intentional, so you can heal from the inside out. This is not about building six-pack abs. This is about building the deepest core of your abs so that you can be strong from the inside. Because if you start working on the outer stuff too quickly, that can lead to injury. It can lead to pelvic floor issues in the short term and the long term. And this is all stuff that I did not know until I went to physical therapy, until I practiced and experimented in my own postpartum journeys. We'll do one more here. And that's why I wanted to make this channel and make these videos, because this is incredibly important when you're postpartum to know how to rebuild, no matter what level of activity you were doing pregnant or before. You have to rebuild this stuff before you go straight back to doing what you were doing before, even if it's an accelerated version because you were that active and doing things. But I think for most people, there's not a ton of information or instruction about how to do this. And so that's what I wanted to do when I created this. So here for you. Okay, we're gonna do one more on each side, and this time we're gonna do some pulses. So we're gonna do a big inhale in, and on the exhale, again, arm and leg out. And on the exhale, you're just gonna do little pulses with your left leg in the air. And you can do however many feel good for you. And you can keep breathing while you're here. Practice that 360 breathing, doing all these different things. And then back down, and then we're gonna inhale, other side. And I don't know about you guys, but like this, I am getting a little sweaty. Totally normal. Like, this is hard work. You don't necessarily have the ab burn that you get with like doing crunches, I guess, but this still counts as exercise. It still counts as working out. And that's awesome. Okay, we'll do a few more. And what I was saying is, I don't necessarily have like a timer going. I don't do each move for, like, I try to keep it equal on both sides, but it's more about just practicing that movement and doing the repetitions over and over. These are moves that I've done hundreds of times, probably thousands of times after having 5 babies at this point. That are how I rebuilt and how they can help you rebuild. Okay, so this last one is, like I said in the beginning, one that I have been quite honestly afraid of, especially postpartum, but really always. So the first part is we're gonna get into a bridge, which we did this before. So I have my fingers touching my heels. You're gonna do that nice deep breath in, expand, pelvic floor relaxes, and then on the exhale, you're gonna think about your pelvis tilting towards the wall behind you or tilting towards your face, and just keep tilting until your bum and low back come off the mat. So you end up in this bridge position. Okay, so this may be enough for you today, and that's fine. If this is working, that is incredible and amazing. If you wanna take it to the next level, you can do with me what's called a glute bridge march. So right now we're in the glute bridge. The march is, you do an inhale, and on the next exhale, you want to think about planting your right foot firmly into the mat and then lifting your left off into this 90-degree position. And then inhale back down, and then exhale the other side. And this is one that honestly, there were weeks to months, especially postpartum, where, and I'm just kind of moving through this with my breath, so you can do that. And it's slow. And if you want to stop and take a break, absolutely fine. If you want to just hold the bridge, you can squeeze up a little more. That's fine too. So I would be in the bridge position and have like literal anxiety about lifting my foot off the floor. Like, my abs are just not strong enough to do that. There's no way. And that was okay. I owned it. I kept doing these other moves that I've talked about in part 1, part 2, and even the beginning of this, to build and strengthen and just keep going. And finally one day it was like, okay, I'm just gonna try it and see what happens. And I think I did one on each side and celebrated it because it was a progression. It was something I hadn't done before. And now you can see, like, here I am doing them. I'm talking to you, but I've put in the reps. I've practiced. And what I will say is it doesn't have to be like 20 minutes a day. This can be literally like 5 minutes. Sometimes even less for me. Like sometimes I do something for 1 minute because I have 5 kids, 7.5 years old and under at the time of this video. So there are days that are very busy, but it's about the consistency. It's about showing up. And so, if you're that mom that's struggling to exercise, maybe you don't know where to start. Maybe you're feeling confused about, like, who do I listen to? What's the right thing? How do I do this? Like, how are there people out there that are 8 weeks postpartum and they are incredibly fit, their belly is flat, and they're doing like high intensity workouts? How am I going to show up and do that? If any of that resonates with you, you definitely want to subscribe and ring the bell, because I created this channel and I make these YouTube videos because when I was postpartum with my first baby, that is exactly how I felt. I felt totally lost and confused. And this is, as a physician, as somebody that was a competitive athlete growing up, it felt like delivery was a reset button on a stopwatch. It was like the timer stopped and somebody clicked reset and it was like time 0, like everything started over. So again, subscribe, ring the bell. I do live workouts. So if you want to be the first to know about getting into one of those workouts, you can definitely sign up for my email list at drsarahionescu.com. I'll have everything linked in the description box. I will also link those videos I mentioned today, but I'm so glad you were here watching. You got moving with me. I'm proud of you. You should be proud of yourself. And it's important to get moving. It's important to do it in a safe way. Like I said, you definitely want to talk with your team, but imagine if you're that mom and with minutes a day of moving, no matter what the movement is, you could feel better physically, mentally, emotionally. You could have more strength, more confidence, more energy, more vibrancy to do all the things you want to do, and maybe even things you didn't think were possible, and they start to become possible, because that's what movement can do for you. And I'm here for you, cheerleading you through all of it. All right, everyone. Bye.